Hi everybody! So for those of you who don't know, my name is Michelle the Bookworm, and welcome to my first video of 2020. I'm very excited to be here. So for this video, this is actually going to be my first book review of 2020. This is the first book that I read for this year, and I kind of just wanted to share my thoughts and my opinions about this book. For those of you who don't know, I differentiate between reviews and critiques. Reviews are just like an overview of like different themes that I thought were interesting within the book, but it doesn't give away a whole lot of spoilers, whereas critiques are I save for more classic novels that people have already read, and I do an in-depth analysis of certain themes within that book. So yeah, for this video, I'm going to be doing a review, and I'm going to be doing a review for Let It Snow. It is a collaboration of 3 different short stories by John Green, Maureen Johnson, and Lauren Myracle. This book was recommended to me through Goodreads. It was on the it was one of the 2019 readathon books for Book of the Month. It was for last December. So I went ahead and read it, and it was interesting, so I'd like to go ahead and talk about it. This is Let It Snow. It is about 3 holiday romances. So if you noticed, I am wearing my holiday penguin sweater, one of like the very few sweaters that I actually own. So yeah, let's get right into it. So there are 3 stories. The first one is called The Jubilee Express by Maureen Johnson. So Jubilee is this high school girl who she's currently dating a very popular boy, and woe to be her family circumstances happen. I don't want to spoil anything, but circumstances happen so that she can't spend Christmas with her family that year. She has to go to Florida with her grandparents. So she gets on a train begrudgingly to go to Florida to visit her grandparents when a blizzard hits. And on the train she meets a boy named Stuart. And when the train gets stuck in a blizzard, everyone evacuates to a local Waffle House, and rather than being at a Waffle House full of cheerleaders, Jubilee and Stuart decide to go brave the cold weather to try to make it back to his house. It was really rather interesting. I completely relate to Jubilee in the fact that I would definitely not like to stay in a Waffle House full of cheerleaders. That sounds like hell. And it was really sweet, very interesting, and all these stories kind of take a turn that I didn't really anticipate them going into, but that ultimately ended up making sense. Speaking of cheerleaders, the second story of Let It Snow is called A Cheertastic Miracle by John Green. Now, for those of you who don't know, John Green is Hank Green's brother, and this is actually the first, I've been meaning to read some of his stuff, but I haven't actually, I wasn't ever actually able to get a chance to do it. So this was actually my favorite one of the 3. It starts out really stupid. Basically what it's about is about 3 best friends, JP, the Duke, and Tobin. The Duke is ironically a girl, and so they're settling down into the storm, watching a bunch of James Bond. They're on a James Bond marathon when their friend Kyun calls them up from the Waffle House and tells them that there's cheerleaders at the Waffle House, jumping up and down, doing the splits, and everything. So, being adventurous teenage boys and one gluttonous teenage female who really, really wants those hash browns, they decide to steal their mom's car and brave the storm in order to go see the cheerleaders and get the waffles and hash browns. So that, I think, was my favorite one because it was so... it was like a mighty quest to get their faces stuffed with pom-poms and hash browns, and they were braving the blizzard in order to get a taste of the good life. I thought that was... It's like, I kind of love those epic stupid adventures movies, and I feel like this novel was one of them. And the last short story that we have is called The Patron Saint of Pigs by Lauren Myracle. So I like this one because it includes like the love of friends along with the romances. In this story, Addie is a high schooler and she's wallowing in her woes because her boyfriend Jeb never showed up to talk with her. They were supposed to meet at a coffee shop to possibly talk about getting back together after they broke up, and he never showed up. So she's devastated, and her friends end up coming to try to comfort her, but then like end up telling her like how selfish she is. So to prove that she's not selfish, she agrees to pick up her friend's teacup pig because she can't do it because of the storm. The pig, Addie ends up not being able to pick up the pig on time. The pig goes missing, and Addie feels responsible. And so now this is no longer about her pride. This is about her friend's happiness as well, and trying to find out where this precious little teacup pig is, so that she can fulfill her commitment to her friend. It's a little hard. It's a little bit harder to talk about what I liked and what I didn't like about this book, just because there's 3 of them. But in general, I'll first talk about what I did like. I really liked the construction of it. This was obviously a collaboration. These stories are definitely interlinked. For example, at the end, there's one point in the book, in the 3rd book, where Jubilee from the Jubilee Express comes to the same coffee shop where Addie works from the Patron Saint of Pigs. And then characters from the 2nd story comes in as well, and it's all like, they all like end up getting together, and in different parts of the book, there's like gossip from other books. So it's all very interesting. There's a lot of gossip, there's a lot of hearsay, there's a lot of he said, she said, and yeah, and that kind of leads into what else I liked about it. It was a very fun read. There's a lot of drama going on. So that was enough, I guess, to keep me entertained. I'm not necessarily into like drama series, but there was enough juiciness going on to keep me like entertained. There's also a variety of different characters that I really liked, but they all like came together really, really well, and I really, really liked how the blending of the different characters came to be. So I'm not gonna say that I completely like this book. I don't think I've ever completely liked any book. So what I didn't like about this book is, let's first start off with the genre. I don't particularly like romances. And on top of that, I don't particularly like YA romances. I feel like they're a little cheesy. I feel like they're a little dramatic. And I feel like there's a whole lot of like build up, and then you get to the build up, and then you get like 2 pages, and then you're done. I don't really like that. I think it's just too much. So, and there was also another thing I didn't like about it, and this is another part of the YA romance genre, is there was a lot of drama. It was a little stressful to read at certain points because it was just constant, like, problem after problem after problem, emotional problem, and it got a little exhausting. But, so, on that note, I would like to give a rating for this book. I ended up giving this book a 3 out of 5. I didn't love it, but I also didn't hate it. I think it's particularly because of the genre. I don't think it has anything really to do with the authors themselves. I think it's just the genre that they're writing for isn't particularly to my liking. I would be interested in reading something else that these authors have written. Like I said, it was entertaining. I got through it, but it wasn't, it wasn't exactly my cup of tea. Anyways, but yeah, this was the first book that I read to kick off the new year. So yeah, I guess my question is, what's the first book that you've read this year, and what are your goals for this month? I know I've started working on my goals for this month, and let me know how you guys are doing. Anyway, good luck, and I will see you next time. Read on.